Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs and me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham, and today we're talking about the 2-0 victory over Nottingham Forest, newcomers to the Premier League, which had been 23 years since the two teams had faced off at the City Ground. And let's take you back here. 1999, Stefan Everson, yes that's right, Stefan Everson got the goal which was enough to seal that win back in 1999. This game though, however, different breed of striker. Harry Kane scored a goal in each half. He had a penalty saved as we secured a hard-fought 2-0 win over Nottingham Forest at the City Ground, with the striker praising teammates for grinding out another 3 points. It's been a big feature of our season so far, I'd say, the grinding out. We've tended to get through games towards the end, and I think that's just the fitness levels because of Conte's approach to training. But for some reason, things aren't clicking on the pitch just yet for the whole game. We're seeing glimpses, but nothing amazing. The England captain scored the 200th league goal of his professional career when he rolled in a low shot after being picked up by Kulusevski in the 5th minute. So Kulu made a run through the middle, picked out the striker, who dragged Steve Cook out of position and nonchalantly rolled home. Not the cleanest strike he's ever hit, but he waited until the defender had actually blocked Henderson's sight. Now, a lot of people probably don't look into the goals in as much detail as that, but really have a look. When you watch replays and they're slowed down, have a proper look just to see what the strikers are actually doing. And Harry Kane does it really well. He gets the ball, he opens himself up with his first touch, so he can go right, he can go left. But what he does, he waits until the defender commits to a point where he's more likely to be guaranteed a goal, which then allows for a scuffed shot. And this is exactly what happened. The defender was right in the eye line of Henderson. So even with a scuffed shot that maybe doesn't hit as powerfully or as clean, Henderson doesn't see that till a bit later, doesn't have as much time to react. We end up 1-0 up. Both Son and Kane bent shots off target as we endeavoured to double our lead. But Forest, they dominated territory, they dominated possession for pretty much the majority of the first half. Brennan Johnson, he looked a threat down the right. I thought he looked very good, to be fair. I think he's going to have a bright future against him if nurtured in the right way. He had a swerving effort from Lewis O'Brien, which was battered away by Hugo. Ryan Yates planted a free header the wrong side of the upright as the host looked to fly out of the blocks after the break. Though, the tide turned completely when we were awarded a penalty after Cook wildly slung his arm at a cross, and he avoided a red card after a VAR review, which took a little while. Kane thwarted the penalty shot. I mean, it wasn't great. Thwarted from the spot. It was sort of like a mid-height one. He admitted after the game he was actually trying to head for the top corner, which, I mean, Kane hits a lot of them sort of like at a medium height, but he tends to get them right into the side netting. And I think it was just curling too late. Henderson had made his decision. Well done to him. He's actually saved, 4 out of 5 penalties so far that he's faced in the Premier League, which is pretty good. But yeah, penalty wasn't great. He admitted it himself. And the way it was saved, it meant there was no chance for a follow-up on it. But let's talk the VAR decision not to award a red card for Cook, because in that game, what frustrated me was we got the penalty, which is kind of a bit of punishment for them. But as we know, penalties are not a guarantee. It's the first time in 22 attempts in all competitions that Harry Kane has missed a penalty. Traditionally very, very good at penalties. One of the best penalty takers that we've seen over the years. But Kane doesn't score that penalty. After that, we have a few attacks that are fairly dangerous. But Cook, the man that committed the handball, is the same guy that then makes a few key tackles, blocks and headers. It's not the first time where we've seen a player that should have been red carded that wasn't, and they've gone on to change the game or help. Diego Costa is one that screams out to me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think it was a red card? Because I do. So when VAR reviewed it, they're basically saying they felt that the ball was slightly too high for Harry Kane to head home. Now, how can they make that assumption? We're talking about one of the best strikers in world football saying that the ball was slightly too high. For a clean header, yes, I would say it was slightly too high. Like, I've watched it back several times now. For a clean connection, powerful header, if he'd have done that at the height he was jumping, where the ball was, he was on his way back down by this point, he would have headed it over the bar. Harry Kane's not stupid. From that position, I'm assuming what would happen with the way the ball was looping, he would have just allowed it to hit his head and drop in. So they've made that decision against one of the world's best strikers and assumed that he probably wasn't going to score. Harry Kane himself basically said he thinks that he would have scored it, and if he backs himself, I back him as well. So for that reason, I would say that it should have been a red card. But, you know, England teammate Dean Henderson, Kane would have taken loads of penalties against it. I was talking to my dad about this one, and his view on it is that if you normally take penalties against this person in training, on international duty, let someone else take it. Obviously, Son's not in great form at the moment, so that may have played a part. If he'd have taken it, you know, we still could have missed. And then, like I did say to him on the flip side, if Kane decides to give the penalty up to somebody else and they miss it, everyone's going to say, well, why didn't Harry Kane take it? And then the other way around, you're like, well, why did Harry Kane take it against somebody that he normally takes penalties against? It's one of them. Like, you're never going to keep everyone happy. But yeah, after that, Forest continued to believe in their ability to level the proceedings, but without a shot on target in the second half. So their search for an equaliser was pretty much futile in the end, particularly after Kane atoned for the penalty miss in the final 10 minutes by heading in Richarlison's superb outside of the foot cross. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. You would have seen just before that, Ryan Sessegnon was breaking down, had a lovely opportunity to cut the ball back through a gap, didn't do it, and then by the time he's gone to make the cross, the moment's gone, it's blocked. Kane is in the box, like, his head in his hands, he's crouched down, he's shaking his head, almost gives up on everything. But then the ball comes to Richarlison. He holds it up well, he turns back out of his defender. Sublime. I love outside of the foot shots and crosses. They look so good. And it's exactly what it was. It was perfect. The Forest team had switched off at the back post, and Kane had another easy header. It's his second easy header this season. He could not miss. Which then meant that was his 187th Premier League goal. So in one game he scored 200 career goals and then 187 Premier League goals, which elevated him to joint third on the all-time scoring chart, only behind Wayne Rooney and Alan Shearer. So the win for Antonio Conte's team, it meant our third win out of 4 league outings. It moved us above Brighton into third in the table. Forest, meanwhile, they dropped down to 14th. We didn't play our best. We know we didn't. But yeah, Harry Kane then spoke as well to Sky afterwards, and he said, we didn't play our best, especially in the first half. We had to dig in, and there have been a couple of games like that this season, but we could do better. I mean, we know, Harry. We've seen you better. We know what it is. He said, we had a great pre-season. We're feeling fit, but we're not quite showing it yet. We're still winning games and becoming stronger as the games go on. It's a long season and we're grinding out wins. True. So another week, another landmark for Harry Kane. It seems like he breaks a record every other week at the moment. The striker continues to cement his status as one of the finest the Premier League has ever seen. With now just Rooney and Shearer having scored more than him in the history of the competition. And, you know, there's been some fantastic strikers in the league in that time. I don't want to name them because some of them happen to be Arsenal players and it sickens me to say it. But I was talking to somebody at work and she's a West Ham fan and she doesn't like Harry Kane. It's a bit of a weird one. I don't really understand that there's people that don't like him. He's a great striker. He's an amazing player. I wonder sometimes if it's just because of how he talks. Like people can be a bit weird about things like that because he's got a bit of a lisp and he slurs a bit and he says the word a lot in his interviews. Maybe they're just little things that put people off, but at the end of the day, he's a fantastic striker, great player of the ball. And I would love to know how people feel about the Harry Kane versus Alan Shearer debate, because there's a lot of people saying that Harry Kane until he wins something. Even if he breaks the record, he can't be deemed as good as Alan Shearer. And my point would be this, okay? Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a Tottenham fan, but like many of you that watch this channel, you know me, I'm very honest, I'm very fair. At the moment, you have to say Alan Shearer is the better of the two. Look, he's got the goal scoring record. He actually did get a decent chunk of assists in his career, and he was a great player. He could hit with both feet. He could head the ball. I mean, he's not a passer as good as Harry Kane is, but he did get his fair share of assists in his career. But yes, he did win something. But for me, when they say somebody can't be world class until they've won like a Champions League or a league title and stuff, I rain all over that. I don't agree with it because some players don't get the opportunity. Harry Kane at the moment, yes, he could have gone away from Spurs. If he'd have gone to Man City, I have no doubt he would break Alan Shearer's record quicker because he's getting service all the time. He'd be with a team that is on the ball for pretty much the whole game. They have like 80% possession in most games plus. So he's going to get chance after chance after chance. We'll put them away. You've only got to look at Erling Haaland, the amount of goals he's already scored in the Premier League because of the team he's in, on top of being as good as he is. So I don't believe you have to be at one of the best teams in the world to be given a world-class status. He is that good. Why does he have to go to a Man City, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich to be considered world-class? Whether he's there or not, he's still the same player. He's still got the ability to score with both feet, with his head, to pick out a pass, to come back and defend and win headers from corners. He's not a better player just because he's at a better club. So I think this world-class status thing based on that is a load of absolute turd. So once he breaks that record of Alan Shearer's, regardless of whether he's won a league or not, he has to be deemed the better striker. And actually, I would argue that if you do it at a club that doesn't win things, is that not more of an achievement? If you're at a club like Man City, you get more chances. Alan Shearer, he won the league with a team that was great. He moved to Newcastle. And they weren't a bad side either at the time. So if he does it at Tottenham, is that not better than somebody doing it at Man City? Of course it is. You've got less chances. You have to hit more from outside the box. You have to use your own initiative more. So, look, that's just my thoughts on it. I'm getting a bit passionate now. Leave your comments below about what you think on that situation, as well as your thoughts about a 2-0 win against a newly promoted side that have signed the world and his mate. I've never seen a team sign so many players in one window. It's exciting. They're having a go, and I do hope Nottingham Forest stay up. I think it'll be good for the league, obviously with their European pedigree back in the day. It's just nice to see a team like that back up here. Good luck to Steve Cooper and his boys. They didn't turn us over, and we'll see where we go. So thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It helps it grow. It pushes it out to more people. Let's get as many Spurs fans watching as possible. Leave your comments below. Don't forget to support it with a like. And until the next one, come on you Spurs.